Hi, I'm Brooke Buskey, and this is my TED Talk. So my TED Talk is about cheerleading and how it is indeed a sport and one of the most athletic sports I think out there. People really just think cheer is just like a sideline activity where you just scream and shout. I mean, yes, it is, but that is definitely not the only part of cheer. Because that part of cheer is just like the sideline part, but then there's a whole other side, which is like competition season. And competition season is like just as hard as not, if not even harder than majority sports. And then people also just like to make negative comments at us because they know it really triggers us. So they'll just be like, oh, like cheers are not a sport. They'll say that to me and I'll be like, no, like it actually is. And I'll get angry and they'll start laughing and be like, ha ha ha, like it's not, like cheer is not a sport. But people also have no idea what like real cheer is because it's not showcased. Like no one has really even seen what like a practice is like, and when they do, they actually realize that wow, cheer is actually hard. Like wow, you guys are a real sport. And when they watch like our workouts, they'll be like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? The Netflix show is a good example of how hard like cheer actually is because it actually shows our practice and like how much work actually goes into to perfecting like every skill, and how much effort we like actually put into cheer. And like people just think it's, oh, you're just screaming, but no. And then the amount of drive your whole team has to put into like a practice or your routine is insane. Like if one person doesn't give like 110% in everything, like stunts, tumbling, or motions, like one person like doesn't use their technique or um their strength, it like nothing will work at all. Like we'll be doing a full out and like one person will just be like tired and it will put us all in one mood. Like we will all like not do it and like nothing will ever work. And then full outs are a death word to cheerleaders. I don't know if you ever heard it, but because after almost every full out, if you don't have the strength and the push to do it, you will almost die, like pass out. Your whole body will just feel like it's just been taken out of you because you're just moving for a whole like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Like it doesn't sound like a lot of time, but when you're doing all tumbling, you don't stop moving, you're lifting people, it puts in a lot of effort actually, and no one I don't think ever sees that. But you don't even have time to breathe. So when you get your time to breathe after, so then that's when you kind of catch your breath, have like a panic attack. Is like I'll tumble like multiple times in a routine, then go do a jump, then throw a stunt. And then also with that, like so many injuries like come onto it because you're just throwing your bodies out on the floor. And if you don't use your technique, or if like someone just falls on you, like you'll get a concussion, or like you can break an ankle. Like I've gotten like 6 concussions from cheer. I've broken my ankle. I have to get surgery on my ankle after this. And I just like went through the whole season because it's like I didn't break it. But like so many knee injuries too, because like even like in high school cheer you're on the dead mat and you're not on spring floor, and like college cheer, which is so bad for your bodies. And like tumbling on that, literally, like if you don't have any strength at all, like you can actually just like hurt your feet. Like even if you do, like you can just get like sprained ankles all over the place. Okay, now I'm gonna show a clip of like someone tumbling, and then you can just see that and be like, wow, that must hurt your body.
Come on, you got it. Hey! Hey! Oh!
There are some times like I'll accidentally like land wrong, and it's
Okay, and then cheerleading is a sport according to the Office of Civil Rights. And then in quotes it says, it must be a physical activity which involves propelling a mass through space or overcoming the resistance of mass. And then I would say that would be stunting, because stunting is where you lift, like you're lifting a whole body. Like there's 2 bases, and then there's a back spot, and then there's the top girl, which is the flyer, like the girl on top. And then it doesn't work unless you have like all the strength and you all work together and like come together, and all stunts and like use your technique. And if you don't use your legs, you're gonna like break your back, because your arms, like, we're girls, we're not that strong. We need to use our legs, and using technique is the only way it's gonna look good and clean, which would score good for teens. And stunting can easily end up in injury, because when something goes wrong, like a flyer just can drop to the ground, and sometimes no one will catch them, which we do conditioning for, because it's unacceptable to drop a flyer. Like, she can drop to the ground, break her arm so easily. Flyers aren't supposed to put their arm down, otherwise their arm will snap, and you can easily get a concussion. And I will show you some clips from the cheer show of girls getting like concussion.
People think that we just do like cheers, like go team, stuff like that, but we actually put our bodies in a lot of pain. Oh, sorry.
Literally everyone. All 20 people are doing the same section, working together, and if one of those 20 is not doing their job, something will go wrong.
5.
Oh my God!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3.
Another law from the Office of Civil Rights is contesting or competing against with one opponent is required. So, in any type of cheerleading, there is competition cheer. So, you will compete against teams around you, teams around the country, teams around the world. In high school cheer, you'll go to local competitions at high schools in the area. And then you go to a sectionals, which is like you compete against like 20 teams in your area, and then the top 5 make it to state. But then lately in high school cheer, going to state has been very difficult, because teams have been getting really good. Like back in the day, like when I did all-star cheer, high school cheer used to be like a joke. It used to only be like sideline cheer. But now, like, everyone has gotten so good in high school cheer, because it's just cheer overall has grown. And back when I did all-star, we would go to local competitions, and then we would go to ones across the country. And then my team, once we went to Worlds, which you have to get a bid to go to, and it's like extremely competitive, because it's like only like the best teams with like the best make it. And then the highest score you can get is like 100. And when I used to be in like cheer, like all-star cheer, like teams used to only score like 95. Like that was like amazing. And now teams have gotten so competitive, even with high school cheer. Like teams are scoring like high 90s, and all-star cheer they're scoring like 99.5s. And high school cheer, they used to only score like 75s. Like that was just the highest. Now like the team who won state in Illinois got like a 97. So it just shows that it's getting very competitive, and teams over like everywhere are getting so good. My purpose of this TED Talk is for society to stop putting down cheerleaders and seeing that we are equal to every other sport, and how it's even more athletic and dangerous than like most, and it's like almost equivalent to like football, I think. Like cheer is like the top number of injuries in women's sports. I think cheerleading is more than a sport, and it meets all the athletic elements. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.